Hey, we have Clint Eimy with Rancho Sestero Meat Cutting. Welcome.
Good morning, Randy. How you doing today?
Awesome. Nice cold morning.
Oh, it's brisk.
Yeah, right? Day before. So tell me a little bit about the holidays and butchering and meat processing. It's a pretty good time of year, right?
Yeah. Actually, we got swamped last week. A lot of people wanting to get animals done before Christmas. One of the customers for Cammie wanted to give away boxes of meat to her family members for Christmas, so
Oh,
I had to
cool.
get that done. It's been interesting. Like today, I think our crew is harvesting, I think 15 hogs today
Wow.
for Christmas. A lot of roasters. People are doing, the big China box roasting, or in the ground roasting, or spit. It's actually kind of a busy time of year for us for harvesting hogs.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, last year between the week before Christmas and New Year's, we did almost 100 hogs.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a lot. And when you say Cammie, that's wine country beef, right?
Yes, correct.
That's
Wine country beef.
so you do a lot of their processing with their cattle.
I do. They've been having me do like 3-4 a month for them.
Nice. So, and they're getting ready for the big push for the holidays. And
Yep, I believe she's actually offering some specials right now.
oh, cool.
Holiday specials to order.
Awesome. So when you say last year you did 100 and then now you're doing some of your own harvesting. So is there a typical cut? Like say, a lot of people will have like a prime rib, for Christmas or something like that. So what is your holiday? I mean, is there seasons as far as cuts? I guess that's my question.
Well, I mean, just like you say, the prime rib, seems to be the holiday special. A lot of people want that when they get their beef cut.
Mm-hmm.
But on average, it's pretty standard. We've been getting a lot more call for tomahawks.
Right? I think I've seen a lot more of that stuff.
Yeah. And I mean, really all a tomahawk is a ribeye with about extra 6 inches of bone hanging off of it.
You just don't cut it off.
Right.
But you sell it for 3 times the amount.
They do.
Right.
They do. I don't.
Right.
But yes, the restaurants
right. Yeah,
do.
The restaurants and everything else.
Yeah.
But that's so cool because again, you can go buy like I said, a block of whatever from the supermarket, and there's different cuts within that block of meat. That's what do you call them, party pack or picnic pack or something like that, to where there's different cuts. Just the way that you cut that, like you said, a tomahawk is literally this. It just has an extra 6 inches of bone sticking out.
Right.
So, but well, cool. So that's kind of the game plan right now. And so now, is there a season for this, for like your meats? And are you busier now than you will be next month, or vice versa?
We're getting into kind of our slow time. Usually there's a lull right after Christmas. But like right now I've already got, I don't know, I think I've got 2 steers coming to me on the 7th. And then Cammie's bringing me, I think she's got 3 spots booked for this next month.
Nice.
So it's still pretty busy. As busy as I want to be at the moment.
So, but with your own, so you actually raise your own hogs.
Yes, we do.
Right there on the ranch, and so you can actually, somebody can come and purchase that hog or a hog, a couple of them from you, and have their choice of how they want it cut up from you.
Yes, correct.
So, so they don't have to actually produce the hog or the animal. They can just go in there and, hey, I want to do that one. I want to process that one, and they buy it from you, and then you do the cutting for that hog based on what they want.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we have like 6 pins of hogs. They can pick from little roaster pig all the way up to market size. And if you have a customer that wants to make some carnitas, they'll get like a 400-pound, 500-pound hog. And most of the time we have those. So you just come in, pick it out, then you just fill out the cut sheet, pay the deposit, and it'll be ready for you in a couple days.
So with your hogs, do you have any type of like input from like say a buyer? So like for instance, somebody gets a piglet and says, "Okay, I want to have some influence, I guess, of how the feed is, what it eats and stuff like that."
For most of the time, for that, if they're going to do that, they're going to raise it themselves
Okay,
and then bring it back to me.
gotcha.
I actually have a few customers like that. They come, they pick them out, they take them home, they raise them, feed them how they want to do it, and then bring them back to me for the harvesting and processing for them.
Nice. And then you also do like sausages. You can do a whole hog in sausage if somebody wanted to.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure. We do a ground breakfast sausage that seems to be pretty popular. A lot of people like it. And then if somebody wants any specialty sausages, I have a guy that I work with that I outsource the specialty stuff for the sausage blends because he's got all the recipes, but he keeps them pretty close to the cuff on those and share the recipes very much.
Yeah. I'm sure there's probably different recipes there that pair with different types of food, drinks. Maybe do they do that with?
I don't know, but I'm willing to try.
Right. So this sausage with that seasoning pairs with beer better than whatever. I'm sure there's got to be something like that.
Right? I mean, it works for wine, right?
Right. Totally. So tell me a little bit some of your favorite stuff to cut. I mean, what's your favorites?
My favorites. I mean, ribeyes are my favorite to eat, so they're always my favorite to cut because I always like to see different animals that come in, grass fed to grain finished, because the marbling is different, the fat content is different, but there's nothing like a really nice, good looking top sirloin, or a big juicy porterhouse. So there's a whole gambit of different cuts that they're good, but it's really nice to see when somebody's taking care of the animal and fed it properly. And when you cut that ribeye and the ribeye is as big as your hand, and just marbled throughout, it's really nice to see.
And that's you just said something that's probably the trigger that most people that are buying meat in the supermarket don't really gather is you mentioned when you cut into that steer or that meat and you see that marbling and you can tell right off the bat of how that nutrition and health of that steer and that animal was, based on just what it looks like, right?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. You can tell as soon as we dress them out when we harvest them. You can tell if it's been grass fed its whole life, if it's had grain. There's a lot of indications on the actual carcass itself that can tell you how it was fed.
So for somebody watching in and kind of getting introduced to the whole process of this, what's the benefit of, kind of buying a locally raised animal versus, your traditional supermarket buys?
Well, the main reason, or I wouldn't say reason, it's more of the main focus on that is, how it's been fed. You know that most of the time your grass-fed local beef, that's pretty organic, and that seems to be a trend a lot of people are into. You don't always know what it was fed when it's in the supermarket. The other thing is freshness. Supermarket, it could have been in a cooler or freezer for quite a while. If you buy an animal, or for myself or Wine Country Beef or any of the other local ranchers, it's going to be fresh.
And that's probably the big takeaway here is that freshness, that what you're buying versus, I mean, we've all seen the videos of, the hogs, tens of hogs stuffed into a cube that only 5 could fit into, but that's the way that they're raised.
Correct. Yeah.
And they're basically getting fed just junk.
Yes.
And you're essentially consuming what they're feeding these hogs, and pretty much hogs will eat almost anything.
They will, and you can tell right away, especially with a hog. You can tell right away when you harvest it and you split that carcass, if it's been fed table scraps or stuff from the kitchen, or even like pumpkins after Halloween.
Mm-hmm.
You can smell it in the meat.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
So is pumpkins good for the hogs?
It doesn't hurt them, but it's kind of funny when they've ate a ton of pumpkin and the meat's kind of got a little orange tinge to it, and you can smell the pumpkin.
No kidding.
Yeah.
And with that, you can almost season your beef or your taste and the pig beforehand just by feeding them, like you said.
I don't know if
Pumpkins.
it would taste the same. I know it smells a little bit like it, but I've never ate any cuts off of a pig like that.
Oh, that's interesting.
I'm more of the, natural feeding of it with the grains we get from Associated Feeds.
That's interesting.
Yeah, because a lot it gets into the fat.
Mm-hmm. So not only do you do beef, you do hogs. Do you do anything else?
Yeah, do quite a few sheep.
Okay.
I can do goats. Don't do them very often though.
And so those are pretty much your 4 primary harvesting of animals.
Yeah.
Awesome. Cool. So what does 2023 look like for Rancho Sestero?
It looks pretty good so far. We're slated to do fair animals again. Santa Barbara County Fair in Mid-State has already asked me to take more animals than I did last year, so that's good.
So speaking of the fairs, you also you can be a process of the kids getting their fair animals too?
Yeah, we can.
Okay.
We can. We have a few. I bred a few hogs this year for fair. Hopefully they'll be farrowing here pretty soon.
Okay.
I AI'd a bunch from what's it called? I just had a brain fart.
That's okay. But kids can actually reach out to you and get their project hogs.
Yes, they can.
Okay.
Yes,
and so we want to also push that as well for you, so that way these kids. Santa Barbara Fair, I think, is before San Luis Obispo Fair.
Correct. Yes.
And now between now and February-ish is the time to start kind of getting your hogs coming in.
Yeah, February, March.
Okay.
And I've already actually have some sold for King City Fair. It would be the Monterey County Fair, and I think it's the Stanislaus County Fair.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So perfect. Then we got to get people out there reaching out to you and getting at least the process started, the ball rolling to get on the list.
Yeah, I've got some new bloodlines. Ottenwald, I think it's Ottenwald up in Northern California. I've got a few gilts from up there.
Okay.
And then I had no.
So what we'll do is here's my thought process for you, maybe for the next video, is to the meat, bring it onto the show. I mean, can we do that? Can you? I mean, obviously not a whole half a steer, hog, or anything like that, but show us some like special types of cuts. Like the tomahawk. Maybe those are pictures that we can have and we can show during the videos or during the show, but talk about the different types of cut. Like you say, you have the tomahawk, you have your fillets, you have your ribeyes. There's so many different cuts of meat that may or may not be well known or even known at all. Kind of like the tri-tip in in our county. You go anywhere else, people are like, what are you talking about? A tri-tip,
true.
Which is very odd to me. I mean, born and raised, so I go somewhere else and somebody says, "What are you talking about tri-tip? We don't have tri-tip. We have brisket, or we have what would be the other cut that if we cook tri-tip here and you and I go to the store, get some beer, get a tri-tip, we barbecue a tri-tip. You go somewhere else, what do they cook? What do they barbecue?
Brisket. They smoke brisket just about everywhere else, it seems like.
Huh. So nobody has any type of other barbecue cut that
I'll have to check into that.
Maybe like a sirloin, but those are more of a roast, right?
Yeah. Well, there's a sirloin tip, and then there's the top sirloin. But sirloin tip, you can do sirloin tip steaks. You can do roast. You can pretty much steak anything out. Doesn't always have to be one way or the other.
So what do you think? How do you think the tri-tip steak came about? I mean, really, that's almost just here only, I think.
It's actually getting a lot more. It's gaining a lot more ground other places. I found it in Oregon when I was up there for Thanksgiving. A place sold tri-tip. Where was it at?
What about ball tip? What's the ball tip?
The ball tip is pretty much a roast.
Okay, so they're just cutting off. You just cut off the top as a barbecue steak.
Yeah, or you put it in the crock pot or whatever and do shredded beef.
Got it. Cool. Well, awesome, Clint. Well,
thanks, Randy.
Yep. Thanks again for coming on the show. We love having you as a sponsor. We appreciate your support. We love getting your name out there and getting people calling you and utilizing you and your services here locally. And like I said, it's kind of a hand-in-hand relationship. So we love to support, and we love to support you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yep. Well, there you have it, guys. Thanks for tuning in to What's Up North County, and Clint Eighmy was Rancho Sestero beef cutting. Meat cutting. Rancho Sestero meat cutting. I always get that jacked up. There's a lot of stuff in there that you can do there. You can do the meat cutting, hogs, steers, lambs, and sometimes goats. But thank you, guys. As always, thank our sponsors. We thank Escalar Wines, Wine Travelers Hideaway, Rancho Sestero Meat Cutting, Pillar Real Estate, and 805 Customs, guys. Thank you again for tuning in. Make sure you reach out to Clint, get those cuts of meat, and we'll see you next time.